June, a shy young man from a poor fishing community in Davao City, steps onto the massive Ireland's Got Talent stage with trembling hands. His jacket is worn, the color faded by years of sun and sea, and his boots are cracked from long walks on muddy shorelines. The audience murmurs quietly, unsure of what to expect from someone who looks like he has already lived 1,000 struggles. June takes a deep breath, clutching the microphone as if it's the only solid thing in his world. The stage lights beam down on him, bright and almost overwhelming, yet something in his eyes shows determination, a small fire refusing to die. One of the judges, Siobhan, raises an eyebrow as she studies him. Another judge, Patrick, leans back in his chair, arms crossed, wearing a doubtful expression. The studio feels thick with silence. June introduces himself softly, his voice nearly swallowed by the vast hall. "I'm June, from Davao," he says, trying to steady his breathing. "I grew up beside the sea. My father is a fisherman. I sing to help my family." There's a hush. Some audience members lean forward, sensing the sincerity in his words. Then the music begins, the gentle opening chords of "Can't Help Falling in Love." For a moment, June's eyes close. His fear melts into focus. When he sings the first line, the judges freeze. His voice, rich, deep, and hauntingly close to Elvis Presley, flows through the room with a soulful power no one expected. The audience turns still, stunned, as if afraid to breathe in case they interrupt the magic unfolding before them. Siobhan's hand slowly rises to her mouth. Her eyes soften, filling with emotion as she watches this poor young man pour his heart into each note. Patrick straightens immediately, leaning forward so intensely that his chair creaks. His earlier skepticism disappears, replaced by astonishment so real it almost looks like fear. The camera zooms in on June's face as he sings his favorite line, his voice trembling not from weakness, but from the weight of dreams carried too long alone. His emotions spill out, raw and honest, touching every soul inside the auditorium. By the time he reaches the final chorus, the atmosphere has completely changed. Some audience members are crying openly. Even the host backstage is frozen, listening with wide eyes. As the last note fades, the room explodes into applause so loud it feels like a wave crashing against the stage. Siobhan stands instantly, tears rolling down her cheeks. Patrick pushes back his chair and rises too, shaking his head in disbelief, whispering, This is impossible." Siobhan slams her hand down on the golden buzzer. A storm of golden confetti rains from above, swirling around June like a blessing. He drops to his knees, overwhelmed, pressing both hands to his face as he cries. Through those tears, he whispers, "Para sa pamilya ko, para sa amin sa Davao." And in that moment, the whole world seems to stand with him. Miko, a skinny teenager from the crowded streets of Tonda, steps onto the Ireland's Got Talent stage gripping an old microphone he repaired with scraps of wire. His shirt is slightly oversized, his slippers worn thin, and his eyes carry the exhaustion of someone who has lived far beyond his years. The judges glance at each other, unsure of what to expect from this shy boy who looks like he came straight from selling snacks on the roadside. The audience whispers among themselves, some even doubting if he can perform on such a grand international stage. But Miko stands still, shoulders rising and falling as he tries to control the shaking of his hands. This moment means everything to him, his one chance to lift his family from the grip of poverty. When the host asks for his introduction, Miko clears his throat and speaks softly. "I'm Miko from Tonda. My family sells food on the streets. I sing to help them. I'm here, because I want them to see a better life. His voice cracks slightly at the end, but he forces a small smile. The judges feel the sincerity behind his words, though they still seem unsure. Judge Maeve leans forward with gentle curiosity while Judge Declan sits back, arms crossed, studying him with a mixture of doubt and interest. Then the music begins, those instantly recognizable opening notes of Suspicious Minds. Miko takes a breath so deep it looks like he's pulling strength from the memories of every long night he spent singing on busy sidewalks. The moment he releases the first line, the atmosphere changes instantly. His voice, shockingly rich and powerful, echoes across the hall with the soulful energy of Elvis Presley, but layered with the raw grit of someone who has carried real hardship. The audience gasps. Some stand in shock. Declan's eyebrows shoot upward, his mouth slowly falling open as he looks from Miko to Maeve, unable to believe what he is hearing. With each verse, Miko gains confidence. His small frame no longer trembles. Instead, he commands the stage as if he'd been performing his whole life. His emotion surges with every word, every high note, every trembling vibrato soaked in truth. The audience sways, mesmerized, some crying quietly as they feel his struggle through every note. Maeve's eyes fill with tears. She grips the edge of the table as if holding back emotion is becoming impossible. Declan slams both hands on the desk, overwhelmed, shaking his head as though refusing to accept that such a voice could belong to a barefoot street vendor from Tonda. As Miko reaches the final powerful line, the audience rises in a unified wave, clapping, cheering, shouting his name like a heartbeat echoing through the hall. When the music stops, the applause turns thunderous. Maeve stands, wiping tears, and whispers, "Your voice, it carries pain, history, and hope." Declan, still emotional, joins her on his feet, giving him the highest praise he's ever given. All four judges lift their yes signs together, forming a moment that feels like destiny opening its doors for a boy who once sang on the streets. Ramel walks onto the Ireland's Got Talent semi-final stage wearing the same dusty work pants he uses at construction sites. His hands are rough, his nails stained with cement, and his shirt hangs loosely on his tired frame. He looks overwhelmed by the grand lights, the towering LED screens, and the thousands of eyes fixed on him. Yet, in his gaze, there is a quiet strength, a Cebuano determination shaped by years of carrying heavy loads, both on his back and in his heart. The judges watch him with curiosity. Some audience members murmur, wondering how someone who looks like he came straight from a work shift could stand in such an elegant, elite competition. Ramel introduces himself softly. "I'm Ramel, from Cebu. I work in construction. I sing, because it is my only escape, my only dream." His voice trembles slightly but carries sincerity that silences the room. Judge Patrick tilts his head, his expression shifting from neutrality to interest. Judge Siobhan leans forward, hands clasped together, trying to understand the man behind the humble clothes and weary eyes. The semi-final stage is intimidating, but Ramel stands firm. This moment is for the people back home who believe dreams are too expensive for the poor. The music starts, the emotional opening notes of "Always on My Mind." The hall falls still. Ramel closes his eyes and inhales deeply as if gathering courage from every sunrise he watched while walking to work. When he sings the first line, the entire room goes breathless. His voice, rich and warm, resonates with an Elvis-like timbre, but it carries something deeper, pain, longing, and the unspoken stories of someone who has lived through struggles no audience member could fully understand. The sound vibrates through the hall, wrapping every listener in a blanket of emotion. Siobhan's lips part, tears brimming instantly. Patrick's jaw tightens as he leans forward, elbows on the table, fully absorbed. With each verse, Rammel pours out his soul. His voice cracks slightly in one emotional high note, not from weakness, but from truth, raw, unfiltered, and powerful. The camera moves across the audience, capturing people wiping tears, couples holding each other's hands, and even backstage crew members frozen in awe. The judges exchange glances, their expressions full of disbelief and emotion. Patrick whispers to Siobhan, his voice feels like a lifetime of struggle, turned into gold. The final chorus hits the room like a tidal wave. Rammel's voice soars, trembling with intensity, and when he finishes the last note, the silence before the applause feels sacred, like the whole hall is honoring his journey. Suddenly, the audience erupts into a roaring standing ovation. People shout his name, clap wildly, and cry openly. Even the host runs onto the stage, placing a comforting hand on Rammel's shoulder. Rammel presses his hand to his chest, overwhelmed, tears streaming down his face. Para samga mahiharap na kagaya ko, this is for us, he whispers, sobbing. And in that moment, the Ireland stage becomes a place where a poor Cebuano worker transforms into something extraordinary.